You got it?
Yeah. Call in, open it up. Open it
All
up.
right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to get started. All right, the time is 7:12. We're going to start the committee meeting. Committee 1. All right. The first item on the agenda is the presentation from CMC Development Group. Request for a support letter sent to Department to HPD for 708 East 216th Street.
Yeah, if you don't mind. My colleague Sean is going to share his screen. Sean, you can share your screen. Sorry.
To make sure that people can hear you.
Oh, there's a mic. Nice. Oh, we're muted. Can they hear us? Yeah. It says the mic is muted. Okay, ears? Yeah. Hugo, if you or Sean could please share the screen with the PowerPoint. Is that Sean or Hugo? Sean?
Yes, Sean.
Okay, Sean, we can't hear you if you're talking.
So we should preface that we don't have the remote to control the volume here, so it's going to be very low. For anybody who's joining from a computer, volume is really low on the TV, so we can't hear you very well.
Fair enough.
If you type in the chat anything you want to say, that's going to be a great way to communicate from the virtual audience into the room.
Got it.
But I think everybody can hear us.
All right, then if we can't hear you guys, we're just gonna speak without you. I have the talking points. Sean, one more time. Can you speak?
I can speak. I can hear you. I'm trying to share. It says it's sharing with you already, so I'm not sure if you're seeing it on your side.
You're very low, Sean. So you got to talk loud.
Can you hear me?
A little louder.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
Go.
It says I am sharing already, so I'm not sure if you can see it on the other side.
Yeah, we see slide 14 is a schematic of a building. Floor 2. Is this what you want to see? No.
Sean, if you're having trouble, maybe Hugo can share his screen. Hugo, do you have the PowerPoint up? Worst case, we'll do it without.
I'm putting it up. Hold on.
Can you see that now?
I see it now, but you got to talk much louder, Sean.
Can you see it now?
Yes. Yes.
I am practically streaming. Okay. So where would you like to start?
Just kick it off.
All right. Well, I guess I will start at the beginning, which is, first of all, my name is Sean Bell, principal of CMC Development Group. And I would like to thank the board members and the community for attending this meeting. And we appreciate the opportunity to discuss this project with you as we feel, and you'll hear from the Ebenezer Pilgrim Church, that this project is of the utmost importance to them. And it's an opportunity for the church to not only usher in a new future for the church, its mission, and its community development service component, but it's also an opportunity to provide much needed affordable housing in the community and for them to leverage the value of their property to be able to create not only affordable housing, but also a new church facility, which would include sanctuary space, community spaces, and also office spaces so they can perform all the mission that the church has. I also want to quickly introduce to you, obviously, the church leadership is here, Pastor K, and the members of our development team, which is composed of CMC Development Group, CASA Partners, the Lane Companies, and BxA Studio, who is our architect on this project. And I'd like to say we're excited to hear from the community. We'd love to get your input in this process. And CMC Development Group and our team, we've done many of these projects across New York City and other parts of the country. So we're very familiar with working in communities. We're very familiar with understanding the needs of communities and trying to make sure that we can address those needs at the onset of every project that we work on. So we're excited to do that in this case. And more importantly, we've done a lot of projects with churches as a way to not only reinvigorate those churches and their activities, but also to ensure that they have a long-term and sustainable future that benefits from the real estate development activities within the community, and also allows them to continue funding their programs. So I'm going to introduce Mr. Nairon Sang, who's one of our project partners, to introduce the church, and and we're excited. So again, we'll try to cover as much as we can this evening. I think you'll be very pleased with what we have to say. And as Gerard Delane said earlier, our goal here is to ask for your support, but perhaps even more important is to really understand all the needs and make sure that any project that we're working on really takes all of those things into consideration. And that's been sort of our hallmark as an organization, as a development company, is to really make sure that we're hitting all the touch points in the community. We aren't always able to please everyone with everything, but I will assure you that we always do our best to meet the needs. So I'll turn it over to Nairon. And then, as I said, we'll go through the presentation. I think we're excited, and I think you'll also be excited about what we're proposing. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Sean. Can you guys hear me?
Louder.
All right, thank you, Sean.
Log in from a phone if it'd be louder to hear.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Let me just try that.
Yeah, guys, we can barely hear you. You might be screaming, but it is the faintest whisper for the people in this room.
And it's not anybody here either. It's not your fault.
Okay, is this better?
There's a problem with the television audio.
Is that better?
Log in from here and see that, but it may be louder, right? We don't know.
Just hold a minute, Nairon.
Okay.
Yeah, we can. I'm sorry, Nairon. We got to keep the movement on.
All right.
We got to keep it
Yeah,
moving.
keep going. Go.
Have him speak.
Say something now.
No. So, can you hear me? No?
Sorry, yes, we hear you. It's better this way. Can you go ahead?
Oh, okay, yeah, I just put on a headset. So, years ago, I was introduced to this project with Pastor K predecessor, the previous pastor, Pastor Harris, who's also, I believe, present today. And, he shared a vision with me that was very compelling as far as what he wanted to do with the community. And I told him I'm more than willing to work with him on putting this project together. And it's been years of planning and trying to get something done. And we faced a couple different challenges, COVID with the city, and it was very challenging for us to get to even this point where we're at right now. And like, Sean said before, we're very excited about this project and where we're at now with this building. and what we could potentially do in the community. And throughout the night, you'll hear stories from the pastor and what their vision is for the community. So it's not just about this particular building and the housing that we're going to be providing to community. It's going to be also just being able to help some of the youth in the neighborhood and some of the visions that they've shared with me that I found compelling because I'm from the neighborhood. You know, I grew up not too far away from this particular site. And, you know, I know what's going on in the neighborhood and they shared the same vision. And we decided to work together on this project over the last several years. So, like, you know, we're very excited about it. And Gerard will be able to expand a little bit more about the overall plan and the structure of the facility of the site. So, Gerard, I hand it over to you now.
Okay, thank you.
Let's start.
You guys still there? Gerard?
They're on mute.
Gerard? Anyone?
How do we chat?
from HPD. This is not a ULURP application or something like that to take an existing use and change it.
Not a ULURP. But it is subsidy. So they only have so many subsidies they give out a year. So like for 9% applications, they might have 8 a year. So like the entire 5 boroughs, all of us are competing for a couple of slots. So we are trying to make the pitch to them that we should build some housing.
All the building is as of right.
Yes.
Just need the money to do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. As of right, this is not a ULURP we're asking for. We're really just asking for your support to help say, hey, HPD, this community wants more housing. We have, support from the community. We have support from elected officials. They want this.
Especially because it's very competitive. Sites to get.
Extremely competitive.
Now, reside near a middle school,
Correct.
which is all green. Looking at all the parishioners, very happy. I heard what you said with regards to the needs, especially when it deals with our youth.
Yes.
Yeah.
My question is this: if there's a youth in dire need of attention
Mhm.
from something that takes place after school, okay, and he's not a parishioner, not one of the people who normally goes to all of
Church.
your functions,
Mhm.
will you entertain that particular situation? And the reason I'm saying that is because I'm quite familiar with the area. I know when those kids come home, it's a debacle. Okay, I don't know, but the way things are happening now, this mental health alertness or lack thereof, anything can happen at any time.
Right.
I can remember marching in this particular area, trying to give things back to the community, saying these are our streets, after someone had shot.
All right.
So I am asking, I'm proposing, if an individual who you do not know is in dire need of assistance, I mean, are you just parishioners only, or are you open to humanitarians?
So what we do is not for commissioners. That's why we said it's a community space. It is different from our space that we would be using. And even in the community space we have now, in the space we have that belongs to the church, the service that we give has nothing to do with parishioners. All of the service we do, from the back to school drive, the scholarships, the food pantry, it is open to community. It's never been curtailed to the church. So what we seek to offer is to the community. And that's what we've done. It's community at large regardless. No, that's why I said even they're Muslim, they're Christian, they're Hindu. If there's a need, they need food, they come. And even now, there are persons who will still come and knock. And if I have something, I give to them. I recently had a meeting with the Bronx Community Health Network that's opening on 219 to see even in our community space, because they have someone that deals with mental health, to see how we can even connect with them to operate and do projects in the space that can deal with mental health issues. And they've agreed. Only Monday I met with Ms. Jackson and a few of the persons. So while we're anticipating this project, I'm already in discussions with persons so that this space can be effectively used and by persons who are trained and qualified for the community.
I have a question.
Yes.
The programs that you're speaking of, are these concepts or are they like concrete programs?
These are programs that...
It's not a problem, but one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of people say programs in general, plural, but they never go into detail, or there's not a title for these programs. There's no, there's nothing that we can kind of pinpoint about what programs they are to see how it intertwines with the community itself.
Right.
So I just want, because we're talking like in a very broad based sense, like, oh, the children in the area, they can come here if they want to, but at the same time, it has to be actually programs that they're interested in to actually come to, if that makes sense.
Okay, so they're not just thoughts, they're things that we have been doing. So that's the first thing. From the soup kitchen to the sponsorship, they're things we have been doing. Presently, we have what is called Impacting Generation Next, which is the youth part of the church that focuses on meeting young people in the community. I'm going to share something that I have done, and that's the reason why I'm doing the Impacting Generation Next. One of the things that we did is, like I mentioned to you, there are persons who usually have to do community service. They're kids who are still in school. So what I do is that these persons, as a part of the community program, they must come to 2 hours of mentorship during the week. And I do that session with them. I have other persons who would have worked with me. That's why I said Bronx, Coney Island, and Brooklyn. And so we do mentorship. We also help them with the after school while they are doing community service. What's their community service? They help in the soup kitchen, the food pantry, they help with the elderly. Those are things that they do. If it's cleaning up campaign, they do that while they're receiving mentorship and help with their school work. That's one of the reasons that some of the churches in the Bronx that I've worked with has grown, because the community is recognized. It's not just about the church. We're genuinely concerned about the interests of the young people, and we're working with them. So it's not a concept thought. It's something that we've done, and it's proven effective. And like we said, it's not that you have to come to a church or whatever the matter is. It's simply making the community a safer space for all of us. That's our approach.
I think Ariel, you're saying is you want like more concrete, like programming for kids between the ages of 2 to 10.
This is the title of the program.
These are the initiatives, these are the outcomes that we're looking
at, because you named one.
Yes.
And I know that you're looking at others.
Yes.
I was just interested because there's other stuff that if I'm in my phone, I'm making a list of all the questions that I want to ask.
Yes.
But I'll give you guys time to just show the presentation because I don't want to hold up on programming. And I also have like follow-up questions for you as well.
No problem.
As far as what you guys are envisioning.
So she's making a valid point.
Yes, I
Like,
understand.
what are your outline programs, age ranges, what are you looking for, outcomes, how are you measuring and stuff?
Okay.
Part of that answer is the programs and funding available at that time. So this building would be built, it would be done 18,
So that's
24 months from now.
Maybe you don't have as many outlines, or right now you're maybe just looking for funding to add programming as well.
Exactly.
I have a couple questions.
His hands up first. Then come to you second.
So you're here to get a better support for the direction of the building or for the program you want to try to put in the building?
Letter of support for us to be with the HPD to provide subsidy to this community.
Or when you say subsidy, build the building or to provide the services that you're
To build a building.
Okay. So to build a building.
Yeah.
So can you bring the drawing of the committee to understand what it's trying to like?
Gotcha.
Based on the plot plan, I guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But
Sean, can you go to a site plan, please?
committee understand what is you're trying to build, like that we can know how we could.
That's
If
fair.
we're going to provide you with the next support, what it is we provide.
That's
The
fair.
services, we got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like the building, I'm going to assume you got an L-shaped type lot.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Sean, pull up the site plan, please.
Plot plan.
Sean or Hugo? Can y'all hear us?
Gerard, I cannot share my screen. It's only giving me that one file. Would you like to see that one or something else?
Should I go back?
It's only giving you one box?
He's gonna get it.
Yeah, if you stop sharing. There you go. Now hit the share button again. Grab the PowerPoint.
All right, so for the
Gerard, I cannot have the PowerPoint.
Hold on, let me see if I can share.
Hugo, please try. Share the PowerPoint.
For the sake of time, guys. So
Yes.
you have two properties on 216, the actual church and the house next.
Correct.
Let's just, you're gonna demolish that.
Yes.
And you're gonna
Thank you, Hugo.
You're gonna build on the L type situation, right?
Yes.
That's 216, this is.
And that's
White Plains.
So on this, on 216, you're gonna put the church on the first floor again?
Actually, it's gonna be inside. Hugo,
Yes.
click through to the site plan, please. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Right there. Oh, go back. Go back. Right there.
There you go.
Right?
That one?
So, Prince Road, 216. We're gonna have a little bit of parking for the church here. And then we're gonna have a sanctuary space here. So they're gonna have their own space here. They're gonna have some outdoor space. We're potentially gonna have 2 residential towers So there's gonna be a residential lobby there for that tower, residential lobby here for this tower, but you saw those L-shaped buildings. So the church will have this whole space, and then the church will have the vast majority of the basement space as well for classes and programming. We can do 85 feet tall.
Which one? So 16 or 1?
Both. And they just changed the city of Yes, which said we can go up another 2 floors.
What's the square footage on that?
It's roughly 100 and man, it's like 110,000, I think.
Okay.
Roughly, it's like 124 units we can do in total.
Can you walk us through, you were also saying, a portion is rental and a portion is home ownership, which we've always wanted to push for home
So-
ownership and affordable. So if you can walk us through the home ownership and then what it kind of like the rate's gonna be for affordable, because we've had, development here where a studio was 2,200 and that's not affordable, right, for many. So if you can walk us through a little bit.
Understood. So what we're pursuing is 2 tracks. So HPD has their Ella program, which is, affordable housing as we think about it, rental. And then they have the Open Door program, which is their affordable homeownership program, where you create an HDFC and you sell co-ops. So people buy affordable co-ops and the rents or the price stays affordable. And it's intended for individuals that make roughly 80% of AMI, 80 to 100% of AMI. The hard part is hard costs are really expensive. Construction costs are very expensive. Insurance is probably double what it was 5 years ago. So you need more subsidy from the city to bring your costs down. And that's the delicate
And then my
dance.
follow-up to that is, I had read somewhere that now, with new developments, typically used to be a certain percentage that was allowed to be from the district, that number
Yeah.
decreased.
Correct.
Do you know what percentage of, these apartments would go to those from this district?
They have gone back from doing that. I don't know what the minimum threshold is now, but yes, there used to be where you could say 25% of the residents could be from this district. They don't really let you do that anymore like they used to.
Well, it would be the best use.
I would like to, but it's kind of like a fair housing thing.
Go ahead.
Fair.
Yeah, I have a couple questions about the construction.
Yes.
I'm mostly concerned with, fair treatment of workers and worker safety.
Fair.
Will this project be done using prevailing wage? And will it be part of a apprentice program registered with the Department of Labor, State of New York?
So it will not be prevailing wage. Prevailing wage typically makes the construction cost go up about 33%. So it makes it hard to keep it affordable.
Yeah, but studies have also shown prevailing wage jobs end up being cheaper in the long run because there's much less accidents, fewer lawsuits, things like that. And I don't think I could vote for anything that doesn't have prevailing wage or registered apprentice program.
Apprentice program is
Yeah,
definitely part of that.
Can I jump in?
Without a doubt.
Can
Somebody say
I
something?
jump?
You're really low, Sean.
Have to put it on the chat.
Throw it, you
Can
gotta
I-
throw it in the chat, Sean. We can't hear you.
Even
Okay.
just on that
I'll put it in the chat.
Members do they have access to some of this housing?
The first wave must use New York Connect.
So that's-
So you have to use a lottery system. It's a fair housing thing. It's
Yeah,
a
but it's also a church thing, but we're gonna circle back to that.
fair enough. I'm a developer, right? Like there's certain rules that like don't do that.
Understandable, like get a policy that you're restricted by.
There's certain penalties and stuff that we gotta, but yes, historically there was a way that you could do that. So let me say it again. The first wave has to be through the lottery. But after the first wave, then our property manager actually can filter the application process. Did you have a question?
Denise has Denise
Yes,
in the chat.
Denise online.
Do you have any question on it?
Yes, hi. I tend to agree. We need prevailing wage and apprenticeship programs. And some of these jobs, these construction jobs, should go to Bronx natives as well. Also, what
Right.
you're saying when you don't go prevailing wage is that you can build it, but you can't live in it. It no longer makes it affordable for the blue collar workers in the Bronx.
I know. It's hard. This is hard, guys. Like when I started in New York City affordable housing in 2012, in Harlem, to build an affordable housing building was $220. Right now, we did a groundbreaking last week in Highbridge, $423. And prevailing wage is 30% more than that. So you're at $550. It's just hard. It's hard to keep the same rent, but like the hard costs are higher. It's just hard, which means we need the city to give us more free money to pay for it. And basically, all of us are asking for more free money. So all the guys in Brooklyn, all the folks in Staten Island, all the folks in Manhattan, we're all asking, give us more money to keep it affordable.
As of right development.
Yeah.
When this has happened and then they're not affordable, and they've been turned into shelters. So to love the home are unaffordable to complete that.
Fair. So the shelter was a good one. So about 10 years ago, they passed where supportive housing kind of sort of became the way a lot of these programs get funded. So 50% of your residents are supportive housing. We are not proposing supportive housing here. We're providing family housing. And I think the minimum we have to do is 10%, I think, of folks that are formerly homeless. That's just, unfortunately, those are the funding mechanisms from HPD. And with HCR, like you're required to do it. You can't get money from the state without that 50%. It's just not possible. So some people just do it. Like it's just, these are the rules of the game.
We understand that. We try to make sure that the homeless in this area
Yes,
get selected on those lines.
that's fair.
That's the name of the game. So
That's fair.
where the questions come up and they're redundant.
That's fair.
It's urgently essential.
That's fair.
Right? We walk up and down all of these blocks, especially White Plains Road, all the time.
Yeah.
So, it's good to see the same people.
Right.
People who need assistance.
Right.
Right.
I'm just gonna get into it. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
And you could not answer it or not. There's a reason why I'm asking. Is the church in financial distress?
No.
The reason why I ask that is because right now in New York City, everybody's using churches as the guise of like, oh, you're helping your community. We're gonna put buildings on top of it for community members, and they're not getting any housing in it. And the community that is building in is not 100% guaranteed housing in it.
Right.
And the reason why I ask that is because nobody wants anybody to be in a financial distress situation for why they have to make the decisions that they're making, because we already know the trickle down. In Harlem, it's crazy of how much that is going on, and I already see it right now, like happening in the Bronx. So the reason why I ask that is because the church members are not getting. It's not like to say that they have a way to be in, and I understand the policies, but I think because there's so much tape, and it's like everything is an option, or everything is like, we're open to it. By that open to it, I think by that time when we cross that bridge, it's like, unfortunately, we can't. As far as the contract with the church, is the church secure to stay there? Like, what happens if, they decide like, the church can't pay this or this can't, like, how can we protect the church is my question, because I do think that I love the fact that churches do community service. I don't like the fact that not you per se, but outside uses it as a guise of like, you could keep helping the community if we build housing on top because this is what we need. Other than giving, the churches more funding to do their community service. You know what I mean? Like I'm a little bit trying to understand that factor.
That's fair. Okay. So I'm a big believer in faith-based development. So the church is participating in changing communities. We were doing a deal in Harlem once, Metropolitan Church, before they went with the eventual developer. And we went into the meeting with them and we're like, all right, great. We're going to give you money to renovate your church and we're going to build a tower next door. And they said, no, we want you to demolish the building. We were like, demolish the building? It's a beautiful Gothic church. And they were saying we can't afford it anymore. That the heating is literally killing us. To keep the place heated in this winters, to keep it cool in the summers, it's just very expensive. The repairs, the roof, the boiler. That what we want is a new facility. And the cash, right? We compensate them for it. So that honestly for me was an eye-opening of like, oh, like being a part of the evolution of communities is something that the churches can be too. So the AG's office in New York, every deal, every transaction with the church, the Attorney General's office has to review that contract before it happens. So they have like a whole review process. It takes like 6 months. So they literally look at what are we paying? What's the appraised value? Is the church getting a fair deal? Everybody has to do that. Nobody can buy a deal from church without the state, literally Letitia James' office, looking at it and making sure, and they check later if the church is treated right. Right? If we do the wrong thing, they will come back and check in on it. So to answer your question, there are some safety barriers around churches to make sure they're treated right. And in this particular case, the church is going to get compensated. So we must pay the appraised value for the land. We must. It's like.
And also, you have a church parking lot, but what happens to the apartments that you have? Are they having a parking lot as well, or is it just street parking when it comes to the building?
Currently, the residential building just has street parking. And that was part of the change in the city of Yes, is to relax parking requirements so we can build more housing. We're in a housing crisis right
But I believe we're in a zone that they do require some.
That's part of the city of Yes. Also true.
So what's great about a site like this and a development like this is that it's permanently affordable.
Yes.
You entered into the housing lottery, and those rental rates are stable.
Forever.
So people live in precarious housing right now, where the rents go up because the developer wants somebody to pay higher. So they'll raise the rent 30% just to kick out current tenant. And that's great about these types of subsidized housing because they're stable. You can see the consistency in the community as families grow, and next generations come, and it creates a different dynamic when you have stability of housing that's subsidized like this at affordable levels.
Yes.
I'm just curious also about the site. Maybe you can change the presentation view, but the church parking, church lobby, support spaces, they have housing on top of that, right? It's not just a
There's an L shape. There's going to be resident housing.
But it's not how are you going to build? You're going to plant trees in the lot when you've got a basement right below.
Our bed only needs to go 4 or 5 feet down. It's doable.
I just really think this is a great idea. Supportive housing like this or affordable housing has changed my life and so many lives of other New Yorkers. It really makes people's dreams come true when they don't have to worry about how they're going to pay rent. So thank you for doing this.
And even though people are shit.
Yeah, but you got to get in it first. Like, I don't know. I think that.
That's why we need more of these.
I mean, we do.
Because scarcity makes that happen.
We do, but I guess it's like, because I know you said that you got like the government and everything to kind of make that happen. Your hands are tied in that way. Like, it's not your fault. It's the policy that's around it. It's just one of those things where like people want to change with their neighborhood. Like a lot of New York City residents are getting pushed out of their communities. So as great as it is that are we making this for the community or we're making this for New York City to look great so other people can continue to come in, which is great. Like one thing about New York City, like we're a great, diverse, like place for working and everything like that. But I'm sure there's residents who work here all their lives, 30 plus years.
Right.
And how are they going to be able to kind of stay? And of course, as we said, the AMI is like 80 to 100%. And maybe there's nothing that everybody could do about that.
Yeah.
We have Wakefield Village. That's
it's a balancing act, right? How do you preserve housing for the folks that are there, and how do you make room for the next generation? Like my daughter went to the daycare down the street here, right? There's a lot of young parents that need somewhere to live, to leave their parents' house. We got to build it.
Well, I mean, speaking about not forcing people out of the neighborhood, the easiest way is to pay them a living wage. If you paid prevailing wage to the workers, then they can afford housing in the neighborhood.
Again, we need more subsidy.
Yeah,
Okay?
if you want to get taxpayer money, our money, then I would like you to pay a living wage to the workers that are going to work on your project. That's all I'm saying. I can't vote for it unless I know that you're going to treat your workers fairly. The only stopgaps I have for that is prevailing wage, registered apprentice program.
Gotcha.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Great, great. That gentleman made a very valid point. We've had a history of working on projects with prevailing wage, so I think it is very important. But something else that Gerard mentioned is the prevailing wage also makes the projects very expensive. And from our standpoint as developers, we're perfectly fine to go either way. The issue tends to be what funding the city has in place to allow us to build at the prevailing wage. But I agree that not only should prevailing wages be paid when possible, but things like making sure that local residents in the community can actually get those jobs. And for those of you who may or may not know me, I've been working in the Bronx for well over 20 plus years. And one of the things that I've gotten into battles with unions on projects that we've worked on, where we said, listen, we'd love to hire people from the union, not a problem, but I want to also make sure that those people come from the zip codes that we're building it as well, which I think is another point that's often overlooked. So I think prevailing wage is one piece of it. Definitely ensuring that there's apprenticeship programs and CMC. We actually have a history of training young people not only on the aspects of construction, but probably just as important is also teaching them about development and exactly what that entails. And that for us means everything from, how do you acquire a site? How do you structure the financing? How do you work with the architects? How do you work with the community? And how do you actually see a project go from just something on paper to an actual building where people live and people's lives are impacted positively? So there's a whole host of things that I think we can bring to the equation because these are things that we've just been doing. Although, our team is pretty experienced in the development space, but our development is actually thinking about community development as a whole. There was a question raised earlier about the role, sort of, the position that the church would be in and so forth. We've done quite a number of church residential properties, several in the Bronx, and we have several more. I think we have about 6 more in our project pipeline in places as far as New Jersey, right? So, we are not only focused on that kind of development, but ensuring that those churches have a new state-of-the-art space, one that is free of debt, which is also very important, and one where they have a way to sustain themselves through the sharing of the developer fees and sharing of all the available cash flow that comes about from the project, right? So it's not just about providing the new space, but it's also making sure that they have the ability to maintain that space and carry out programs. So, but there are a number of ways to attack these issues. We're always charged with trying to figure out how to make sure something gets built, something that is affordable, while we're also trying to compete and be challenged by all this everything beyond our control, like construction pricing, insurances, et cetera, financing charges. But it's these are critical times as it relates to providing affordable housing. We want to make sure that not only that happens, but also that you as community residents and owners can pass that building and be proud in terms of what it looks like and how it functions for those families. So.
Like what the front of it's gonna look like? Do you have that? The design
Oh,
plan?
like some facade images. We have a few. Sean, you want to share the renderings or share them?
While he's doing that.
Yeah.
Do you have any information on the success rate of 80% decline in C12? How quickly do they get built up? Are they built up? Are they sitting vacant? What's been the success rate? Of those types of buildings?
I do not know that answer off the top of my head, but I'm sure HPD has that publicly available. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, before you build it, I mean, obviously you want to know if people are going to move in. But it's going to stay it's
So
going to get adjusted to make some other kind of accommodation. Get people.
The initial lease up is actually, unfortunately, extremely competitive. So, you know, for 100 units, you might have 100,000 applications. People desperately want affordable housing.
Yeah,
So,
one of our last
initial
projects.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was just going to say on one of our last projects where we only had 89 out of the 120 units went through the lottery process. We had 49,050 applications. So, and that was in, a few years ago. So I can imagine it's perhaps worse, unfortunately. And I'll just quickly share that when I built our first building back in 2007, we had 63 apartments and we had about 3,200 applications at that time. So fast forward, 15 years later or less than that, and that number is, 10 times as much, if not more. So there's definitely a major issue.
And we're building housing slower than we used to before. So the demand for housing is actually just getting bigger, unfortunately.
Are you putting any solar panels or things on your roof?
Yes, we will have solar panels on the roof.
Any like studies on the infrastructure, getting a lot of flood issues lately?
Not yet. Is our architect on?
Yeah,
Hey
Jordan
there.
is on.
Yep. Hi, everybody. I'm Jordan Rogov, a principal at DxA Studio. Yes, we will have pretty extensive water detention systems within the building. Haven't made a decision yet whether that is going to be a delayed retention at rooftop or a reservoir in the basement of the building, but there will be significant amount of capacity in the building as we understand the local infrastructure can get overwhelmed by stormwater. So that's definitely on our radar and a significant point of focus for the design team.
Okay. I think that'll kind of sum things up. Gentlemen, I want to thank you. What you just brought before us.
I'm sorry, can they send that presentation to us?
Yeah, that George has, that's a given. That's a given. I just want to thank you for your presentation. We're gonna see what we can do. We're not gonna vote on it now.
Well, you can take a vote here because you have quorum,
Yeah.
and then you bring it to the full board meeting.
Okay.
Your recommendations,
Yeah.
unless if you want them to come to the full board meeting.
Well, I would suggest that you do come to the board meeting. Not that we're trying to get a population, which you already have one, but I mean, this is an essential need in the best sake of community, and you do need to be here. To make a long story short.
So you have a quorum. You would take a vote now.
So we're gonna.
And if I can add one last point,
Go ahead.
you talk about the young people in this neighborhood, right? Let's say they're 16, 17 now. 4 years from now, they're gonna need housing. Why not help them stay here? And specifically having them have black and brown builders who build a building, that is impactful.
But the thing is that what guarantees do you have when you say something like that, that those people you're referring to are going to be able to get those apartments?
Well, if nobody builds anything, there's a 0% chance.
Yeah, but
like I can't guarantee all of it. You know what I'm saying? That's the.
It's a good idea. To make a long story short, it's a great idea, and we want to have that type of transparency where it turns over, and that way each one teaches one, and everybody becomes employed. So I get it.
We don't want to be the only building. We want other options in the neighborhood. We want that.
No, it's understandable. It's understandable. Okay.
Really appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thank you.
And we
Okay,
invite you to come back to our.
Yeah.
board meeting.
Okay.
okay,
Thank you.
all right. We're gonna vote on it?
So you would vote, right?
You-
At the committee level, you recommend.
Yeah.
You make a recommendation. It's up to you.
You wanna do this now?
You could just vote to say that.
No, they want the letter of support.
By when do you need this letter of support by?
We don't have a tight deadline.
You don't have a type, so you can give us time?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to do nothing right
Yeah.
now. Okay,
Because ideally, we would have more committee members here that's not here,
Gotcha.
but we're definitely gonna have you come back. Once everybody gets the opportunity to
Yeah.
dissect, have more
That's great.
questions for you, but it's great that you have a little more time.
Awesome.
It'll
Thank
give us
you.
more
And
time.
George has a presentation.
no
You guys
problem.
can read.
Thank
And
you.
if there are any questions in between the meetings, feel free to reach out to us. George has our contact information.
Okay.
To address any questions that come up as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, but so if you have a house manager, the general, give us an idea.
We meet the fourth Thursday of
Thursday.
the month,
Of the month.
so we can put you on the agenda. You get 10 minutes, so you don't get this much time on committee. At committee level, you get pretty much, you got what, like an hour? We give you 10 minutes to present. And so it's, the fourth is the 27th, February 27th, 7 PM.
I'm sorry, one other item, the gentleman with the, that raised the prevailing wage apprenticeship. If you don't mind, sir, if you can either send me your information or if you can reach out to me, I'd love to talk to you some more about that.
Sure.
Yeah.
What's the location? Is it here?
Right here,
Yeah.
same space.
Right here.
7 PM, Thursday, the 27th.
Denise has something for her.
Denise?
Yes, hi, can he also reach out to me? Because I can guarantee that he can speak to someone on organizing with the New York City District Council of Carpenters. They do offer PLA wages as well as ensuring that Bronx residents will be doing the work.
Yeah. Okay, Ms. Echeverria. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a request for a letter of support on behalf of Well Life located at 3663 White Plains Road for an after-hour work variance. Is there someone?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I am Willie Scott, the Vice President of Public Affairs for the Well Life Network. I'm joined by our Chief Executive Officer, Sherry Tucker. And at this time, I turn the microphone over to our Chief Executive Officer, Sherry Tucker.
Thanks, Willie. Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for having us join you tonight. We are here to request expansion of the hours on Saturday from our general contractor. We're under construction on the building at 3663 White Plains Road. Very excited about our progress and very excited about bringing this new community to the Bronx. Tomorrow we're actually having our groundbreaking ceremony for this location. So we appreciate the support you've given us in the past for this project. And from those conversations, I just wanted to give you a quick update. We have put together a project that I think everybody will be very excited to see when it's completed. We worked hard to make sure we met all the comments that you provided us in the past. And again, we just appreciate the support that you have given us through this process. So we have one of our representatives from Mega Construction, who is our partner group that's building this building. And he's going to explain why this variance is needed in the work hours on Saturdays. Anthony?
Hello, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to hear us out. Basically, just wanted to respectfully request an expansion of the hours. The typical hours that we're able to work as of right on Saturdays is from 10 a.m. Start time until 4 p.m. And we'd like to request that we extend those hours
Excuse
to
me,
start
Anthony.
as.
Anthony, can you put yourself on the screen, please, if you don't mind?
I'm sorry?
Can you put yourself on the screen, if you don't mind?
Sure.
Video. Turn your video on.
Sure. I'm actually working from my phone.
Okay, go ahead.
So we'd like to request the early hours. The standard hours are from 10 a.m. start to 4 p.m. And we'd like to request to start it as early as 8 a.m. And working until 5 p.m. This would help us with completing the work at a timely fashion. Right now, we are basically working Monday through Friday, and Saturdays are an optional day. We don't necessarily work every Saturdays, and we don't plan on working every Saturday going forward. But when we do have delays during the week, for example, weather delays in the winter months and in the spring with rain, there's times where we can't work during the week, and we'd like to have a makeup day on a Saturday. And just having an earlier start time would be able to help get our subcontractors on board to be able to come in on Saturdays and work, where it'll be more effective of a day.
Okay, I just want to be certain of the hours. You're transposing from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You'd like to work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Is that correct?
Correct.
Anthony, so
Yes.
is this a public safety issue, or you just trying to get extra hours to just finish the building faster?
We'd like to finish the building faster. This is something that, construction's always uncomfortable for everyone, right? The neighborhood, we have to accommodate everyone, which we have no problem doing, but I feel like it's less of a strain on the residents if the project is not drawn out due to the lack of Saturday work. So having those extra Saturdays throughout the project could speed up the project ultimately, overall, in the overall schedule.
Did you already submitted your permits for DOB? Did you already get after hours already? You already got them granted on Saturdays?
Yes, we do get Saturday permits when needed so far.
And they told you to come to the community board to get the okay from us to work after the issued hours, correct?
Yes, if you were to issue a letter approving your acceptance of those extra hours, we would take that letter to the Department of Buildings and they would give us a permit for those hours.
So this our question. This is what I was trying to explain to my committee members. So as you know, I'm an expediter, so I know how this works. So usually the DOB gives you after hours if it's a safety issue. You know what I'm saying? You click public safety, being that you want to not build it faster, but it's a safety issue. Like you want to, bring materials when there's kids walking back and forth to school. That's a safety issue. You can get an after hour. But when you want to build the building faster, that's not a real good reason, to come to a board to ask for. You see what I'm saying? Now,
Go ahead.
hold on.
Yes, sir.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
What I'm trying to say is that you got to understand something. Once we give you the okay, you're going to get after hours until the building is built, regardless whether you're going to work, you're not going to work. The letters are going to be good. The DOB is not going to call us every Saturday to say if they can grant it. Once we give you the okay, you're going to get that okay until the building is built. You see what I'm saying? So understand that the community is going to come to us and say, oh, why did y'all give it to them before the start time of 10 o'clock? So we need a good enough reason to have for when they do come to us that we could say, oh, it's because of this, not because we want to finish the building faster. You see what I'm saying?
I understand. I mean, we also do reserve certain work activities for Saturdays when we have a major delivery sometimes, or a major crane pick or anything like that. Sometimes we do that on a Saturday to avoid, the rush hour traffic and to avoid being a nuisance to the neighborhood. But I'm being honest here when telling you guys this is what we plan on using the permits for is makeup days. Whenever we lose a day during the week, we'd like to work on that Saturday. And again, working earlier times or starting earlier rather would be helpful to get everybody on board to actually show up and work on a Saturday.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
What job location?
Oh, sorry. 6336. Yeah, 3663. It's right next to Western Beef.
Yeah, just before you get to right. 16th Street.
Yeah.
Okay.
Saturday, the groundbreaking at least.
That's what I mean. I
Oh,
heard
look at
some-
that.
I
It's
heard
that
something that
people
it-
go to 16th
it
Street.
counts as
Western
a-
Okay, are there any questions from the committee regarding this time variance? This change from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.? They'd like to request a change to 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
9.
I have a question.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
What are the cons to the community for starting this at 8 a.m.? Is it the noise? Is it congestion? We know what you guys want to do it for, but how would this negatively affect the community that you have to come to the board to ask for approval?
I mean, I would assume noise would be the biggest concern, but I mean, we can, once the building is enclosed, at that point, the noise is usually at a minimum. Right now, we're working on the foundation and excavation. So yes, I guess noise would be the biggest concern.
You can do 6.
Yeah.
9 to 5.
There's various conversations going on around me, and actually it deals with you starting at 9 a.m. instead of 8. Is that amenable as far as you're concerned, or are you dead stuck on 8 a.m.?
Oh, I would accept 9 a.m. I would appreciate any early start.
Robert, you got any questions?
No. You guys asked all the relevant questions.
Yeah. Any other concerns, the committee?
Anybody on the virtual has any
Anybody?
comments?
Yeah.
Any committee members on the virtual or board members?
No, this is Clinton. 9 o'clock sounds better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Saturday people sleep, like that 1 hour makes a difference.
All right. It appears that 9 o'clock is the answer to your request. Is that okay with you, from 9 to 5?
Yes, thank you very much. We'll accept that.
Anthony, one thing, if we get complaints, remember I check this DOB system every day. If we get complaints that something funny is happening after hours, then we're gonna call DOB and have them remove every after hour you get on the weekend. Fair?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. We have nothing to worry about. We try to, handle every project with care, especially with the neighbors, and be good with all the neighbors. And, if anybody ever comes to us with any issues in the neighborhood, we always address it right away as best we can. So I'm not concerned about that.
Well,
A committee member has Jasmine has a question.
Yes, go ahead, Jasmine.
What is the estimated completion date?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Was that a question for me?
What is the estimated completion date, timeframe? When does it end?
Fall of 2026.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
What, like, the extra
No,
hours?
it's a big building. Weather has a lot to do with this.
Yeah, whether with
All right.
extra hours, maybe you'll be,
Yeah.
It's a lot for residents to have to deal with on Saturday.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a public hearing? Yeah.
You know that's going. We already.
Yeah, we do public hearing, they're gonna shut it down.
For what? Split noise.
I know.
Yeah, they think
Seen it today.
Yeah, but that was it's all a one train station.
Okay.
80% of it.
We're just talking amongst ourselves, Anthony. Has nothing to do with you.
Understood.
I do believe that 9 o'clock, from 9 to 5 would be essential. I was fortunate enough to get to 2 residents on Willard Avenue to ask them if they mind, and for the most part they did not. I was in Western Beef, but I didn't talk to the manager. But you have a large area, because I was trying to locate you and I was unsuccessful because your workers only spoke Spanish. So that was basically it. But in any event, we're going to try to see if we can do 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Is that okay?
Yes, I appreciate that. Yes.
Okay, and I will be on hand tomorrow at the groundbreaking, all right, to support the community board.
Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very excited that you're going to be able to join us. Thank you for taking the time to come out.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've been there twice, but I just couldn't go down because it's a long block. It's a big block. And to go from Willard to White Plains is, I didn't have a helicopter, so that was, but I got a chance to really look at the area that's under construction, and it's wide. So I get it, but we'll talk tomorrow. Okay.
Anthony, make sure you get a hard hat for him. I don't want construction safety enforcement going over there.
Absolutely.
Our committee member has a question. Is there a storefront to the building?
It's all residential, or is there a storefront? I see other buildings, Western Beach.
No, it's all residential.
It's all residential.
I'm trying to understand how you're gonna have that many residents without the support for it. You mean, you need stores. Why do you just determine that when it's just be housing? Because we're adding what? Your building is about how many units? How many units is your building?
136.
Yeah, I thought it would be bigger than that, but yeah, I'm
Well,
always surprised.
we've included, various sizes in there. We have a recreation room, we have a community room, laundry rooms. So it's not just all, of course, not just all apartments, but it will be a little community. And that's the beautiful thing about these buildings that we get very excited about is they become a big family.
Sure, can you refresh our memory? Is this a supportive housing building?
Yes.
Or and so describe the apartments. It's just like one bedrooms or?
We have studio 1, 2, and 3 bedroom. And Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong on any of that, but that's my understanding.
No, that's correct. Forgive me.
And the population again that will be housed?
I'm sorry, say that again.
And who are these apartments for? What kind of population? Is it affordable? Like how, can you walk us through? We have some board members since the last time you came.
Yes, we have, it's a mixed use. So we have 60% supportive units, which equates to, if I'm remembering correctly off the top of my head, 82 units are supported, or apartments are supported units. And the remainder are for the affordable community that was being discussed on your previous guest that you had. So we'll be providing apartments for the community as well through that lottery.
Any questions?
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
You have a question?
No more questions?
No.
Another lecture that now they're already where they are.
Yeah. No, I can't
do anything about it.
That's way back.
No, I mean, what is the time frame for this letter of support?
Do you need it as soon as possible, or can you wait?
At your earliest convenience, whenever you're available.
Okay.
We should have a public hearing.
You want a public hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
As a neighbor, for like over a year, 6 days a week. I have construction.
Well, the
next to me
construction's
right
already
now.
going on. They're talking about adding now.
If we have viable complaints, but if there's like none,
I mean, we don't know
what if
that.
it's an extra couple of hours?
But do we know that?
It's kind of like, I'm not quite sure what type of population.
If we have
There might noise and
Yeah.
everything else on Saturday. I'm not quite sure the community may react to what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think we should ask the community. I mean, unless any of you live there, I'd like to hear from people that live there.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I mean, I had to ride my bike through. I couldn't.
Yeah. We're not saying no, we just want more community input. So we're gonna host a public hearing this month to continue the conversation. Because your current hours right now on Saturdays was what again?
9 to
9 to
10. 8 to 4.
10 to 4.
We're just giving them 2 more hours. So that's not even
8 to 5.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. It was 10 to what?
10 to 4. And we're giving them 8 to 5. So it's like we're giving them 2 more hours. 2 hours more we're giving them.
Yeah, that's what I was
2 hours more is not.
It's not that big, but we don't know that. Let's get community input. What is this, George?
That is the in-person requirement.
Oh, George, have we had any complaints about noise, construction in this building?
About this building
for
in
this-
particular? No. You did see the article.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we want to have a public hearing on this, what would be, we call it what, before our full board meeting, or we can do it before?
Yeah.
But they need it kind of urgent, you know, as soon as
I mean, there are
possible.
reporting requirements for us, that we have to post it. Public has to be made aware of it, so that might take some time. I can check with Ursula. Ursula, you still there? We'll find out.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm gonna say that everybody that's on our mail list was notified of this tonight. So if you're gonna have a public hearing, it's gonna be the same thing, the same people.
Yeah. All right, so you guys decided.
All right, so. Hold on, guys. Anthony, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Just for the sake of conversation, so I see that construction safety enforcement was there for complaint, but they deemed it not warranted. So when construction safety enforcement goes out to a job site, that's like the agency or the unit that does safety. So they found the job site safe. So if construction safety was out there a couple of weeks ago and said everything looks good, I don't see a reason why we should have a public hearing. That's just me. I'm not on your committee.
Okay, I
That's
mean, you
just
guys
me.
decided. It's your-
All right, so.
There's 2 hours difference.
Yeah.
Committee recommendation.
And it's gonna help them to go faster.
Okay, is there any nays in this room? All right, how about,
Oh, we can't take a vote. He just said we need 9 in person. So we don't have quorum.
no, Versa
We need
made
it
a
in
very good
person.
point. You know, it's coming back to this group right here.
Yeah.
So,
I know that.
you know,
But you don't have all your committee members here. I'll
I think
bring
some
them.
online.
You would need 9 in person.
We could just let them know that at our next board, March, we'll get them.
But you can decide at the full board meeting.
Yeah.
You can take a vote then.
Yeah, because.
okay, so we're going to discuss this at our board meeting, which is the 27th? On the 20, we're gonna discuss this on the 27th at our board meeting, and I will be with you tomorrow.
But
Okay,
otherwise, not that we don't want to vote today, it's
Yeah.
because we don't have quorum. to vote in
we're a
person
person
right now.
short,
Understood.
so that's where we stand. But we're still gonna stick with the 9 a.m., 9 to 5, and give you those 2 hours. If
I
that's
appreciate
okay
that.
with you.
Yes,
Okay.
we'll accept that. And thank you very much for your consideration and your support.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
You guys have your report. You recommend, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll be good. Yeah.
All right,
There's something else.
the next and last item on the agenda is to follow up with the Committee on Conversation with the New York City Department of Transportation to address the quality of life complaints regarding tractor trailers and campers, Webster Avenue, Neary Avenue, East 229th Street, etc. Parking in the district.
Well, I mean, I was part of a very productive, interesting hearing where, about 2 weeks ago, I don't know if anyone else was on that meeting. George was about 2 weeks ago. We met with Bronx Department of Transportation, with the commissioner. So we met with the commissioner of transportation. We had a kind of a forum to talk about some of these issues being the parking of tractor trailers and other traffic safety concerns. One of the issues that I kind of wanted to bring up was a bike lane on Rid, and I think it's going to accomplish a few things. Number one, it'll connect the neighborhoods together. It's difficult to get from Woodlawn over to Wakefield. Safer for delivery drivers, e-scooters that are going back and forth over that bridge. And also, it'll prevent tractor trailers. Right now, they're not parking there. So if you build a bike lane that precludes, takes away the space for trucks to park, then that kind of gets rid of the problem, and we don't have to keep calling the precinct to keep coming back and chasing away the trucks once they, inevitably decline to keep enforcing it day to day because they got other things to do, I suppose. So my motion, if we had a quorum, was going to be that we make a recommendation to the Department of Transportation to go ahead and start constructing bike lanes in that area, consistent with the bike lanes that are on both sides of Bronx River, and it also goes over the 233rd Street Bridge. So I think it makes a lot of sense, but obviously, if anyone's questions or concerns. Yeah.
I have concerns because I actually live in that area. The concern is that the trucks just go into the residential neighborhood to park. So they go on Bronx Boulevard to park. And they also, down the block from Bronx Boulevard is, what is it called? It's an E Avenue, but
I know what you're talking about.
Bullard. They
Bullard.
go like
They're already parking on Bullard.
Yeah, but they're also on Bronx Boulevard. Like there's a strip of, because honestly, in my opinion, I don't know if there's a weight limit on the bridge. Like
There is a weight limit on the bridge.
On the bridge, stuff like that.
It's not safe to park trucks on a bridge.
Which
now it's okay for now. The mayor's office was here and they spoke to us about this. They said it's okay for now because it was just built 10 years ago, that particular bridge. But yeah, I mean, eventually it'll take its toll. Wear and tear.
Yeah, right. which I'm being very thoughtful of, because I honestly thought them being on the bridge was a lot better in the neighborhood than them being in the residential area. But because of the concern of course, the weight of the bridge and everything like that, I don't know where I've got Kevin Grimes who came in, was talking about a hub and everything like that, because regardless, they still need a place to go. And even if we put the bike lane, I'm a bit biased about bike lanes. I will say that, but I feel that even though we put the bike lanes there, I don't think we are helping the whole thing of like where the trucks are going to go. But if this is a short-term kind of thing to do, understandably so, but as a resident that lives in the area itself, they're just like literally like they're down, like I'm looking for places to go because they just took up the whole of Bronx Boulevard because we have 2 mechanic places.
Yes.
So our issue with
that's ridiculous. The mechanic on Bronx Boulevard next to the shelter. That's outrageous.
Abandoned cars in my area. I have street cars in my area. There's no parking.
I get it.
So I have like those issues going on, and it's really hard to call 311 or anybody about it because we can't deem the car, disposable unless they go to the Department of Transportation. You have to go through a whole bunch of things. So even though we have Willard Avenue, which like if you go all the way up to 233rd, there are trucks that's kind of parked there. They're just kind of spread like in the community. So that's just my only concern about just having bridge to park lanes because we're still figuring out where the truck drivers can go.
Well, I agree with everything you're saying 100%. I'm just saying the bike lane makes sense because it connects with the other bike lanes.
Yeah, it'll not make them.
You have a network of bike lanes as opposed to a bike lane that just stops at the bridge. So it kind of makes sense to continue connecting it. And number 2, I mean, we all agree that the trucks don't belong on the bridge.
Yeah.
So us finding a place for the trucks, I mean, the answer to this question evades the city of New York. I mean, I don't know that we're going to be able to come up with a better solution, but I'm totally willing for any solution for trucks. And this is not being presented as a solution for the trucks. It just makes sense as a bike lane to be there, and I don't want bike lanes.
Are we blocking the bike lane because not for nothing. We have bike lanes on Bike Lanes Road.
And they get knocked over.
I mean, yeah, you know, I mean.
We talked about that at the meeting too.
No, I know because I rode my bike up to Neary and going down. Yes, I get down. But yeah, I know what it is to go on Neary and go down that hill all the way to McLean to Garcia's
bike shop.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, I
I mean, I think it's helpful. I just think that because everybody is frustrated with parking.
Yeah,
we made like some truck drivers may just say that was nice and still.
I've seen truck drivers creeping, trying to figure out, number one, why everybody's not parked on the bridge.
Yeah.
And where could they go, you know?
Yeah.
In lieu of not being on the bridge. I've seen that while I'm flying by on the bike, you know.
But I do think it's a good idea to have it connected because the bike lanes are already there. You know, I don't have to be like biased with that. That's fine. I just don't know if it's gonna 100% deter them from, because if they get more pressure and you know these are big trucks, they have to put them somewhere. But I think the bike lane there is fine because you know back in my day, you know, I didn't have a bike lane, so I think it's fine.
Yeah, vote it. We'll put it on.
Yeah.
If there's any other objections to it, just let me know and then talk about it.
Sure.
Just I want you to expand. I know you spoke about the bike lanes, but can you talk more about all the other conversations that were had? Because
I wasn't prepared to present.
No, I understand.
I know we talked about a little bit about car washes and about the school buses on. It's not wrong. It's Webster. School buses on Webster have an arrangement with the Department of Transportation to park on the street so that I guess other nuisance vehicles don't. So the DOT has made like a deal with the school bus depot to start parking their buses along the way so that nuisance vehicles can.
I mean, so why can't we just have the trucks park over there? Like they used to.
Or
They used to park.
or charge them a fee.
I feel like, oh, so sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that back in the day, the Webster was full of the trucks. That's where they used to park, and then they went to the bridges. Like they just keep kind of getting moved around. The school buses, they have a whole entire parking lot. So if they have a place that they can go and maybe the truck can be there, like charge a fee, whatever the case may be. That I mean, I think that works better.
My impression of the Department of Transportation Commissioner was, I found him to be a pretty impressive guy in the hour-long conversation that we had. I mean, I think he's a smart guy. I think he's a thoughtful guy, and I think if we raise some of these concerns with him, I think he would be definitely willing to engage. What are the other things they brought up, George?
Well, no, I should have. I'm sorry, I should have like phrased it better. I was hoping because we still have to make budget requests, and I was hoping that this would be a request to DOT to conduct everything that we had spoken about, which was Webster, Jerome,
Holland.
No, not Holland.
What about the school? 68, study at 68?
That was already done. That was responded to by the NYPD.
Is that a report that?
It's not a report, it was a response from the NYPD. That was shared.
But are they all in one place that we can all review it and see like what
I don't have my email right now, but I did respond to whoever sent the email and everybody that was on that email chain.
Those are the things we should be discussing at committee, like everything we've been asking, requesting, what has gone through, what hasn't, and what agencies are responsive, which agencies are not, and so that then we can make requests.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. You can make a formal request for these things. But I would also suggest in the case of Holland Avenue, once a study is done and conducted and denied, unless the circumstances change, those are engineering reports. It's not a public discourse on, trying to sway the political opinion. It is an engineering report that is backed up by the NYPD. So to Robert's point that we did have a very thoughtful conversation, he actually echoed some of the concerns that you raised, that if you start eliminating places for people to park, on the bridges, Connor Avenue, Connor Street, 241st Street, Myriad, that they're going to relocate into other areas. We had that situation where the NYPD, the 47th precinct, conducted a raid on the campers and everything that were parked on Bruner Avenue, right by the bus depot. And all of them ended up on the other side of the highway, closer in our district, right on Baychester Avenue. And even, I mean, now you have campers on right across the street from the Y on Baychester Avenue.
Campers.
Well, no, this one is busted up. I mean, but yeah, it's just, it's.
But it is a campus.
And they have
They're campers.
233rd Street.
Yes, they also block east.
I might just not see them.
Campers, usually with PBA sticker on the front.
But have you seen all the ones like the right under when you're coming off the Bronx River Parkway, Gun Hill? That right underneath.
That's like
there's-
50, it's like
there's
15.
all
It's like
campus.
15 people.
All
People live there, and the kids go to
Live
school.
campus.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Let's see, guys, I think we got one more item.
All right.
I don't know. So,
So can I ask one
Yeah.
question? With the metro, we're talking about before about the having the metro north of 233rd Woodlawn Station accessible, but we didn't know who was responsible for that. Would that fall underneath the budget request, or is that?
Is this the request from the Woodlawn folks? Do you remember?
It was like
the Metro
the Metro North on Woodlawn.
Making it
There's no-
accessible?
It wasn't, it's not.
I thought that was approved.
Okay, it may be.
I don't, like I said, I'm sorry, I don't.
Woodlawn train station is getting a full makeover.
Yeah.
It's gonna be wheelchair accessible.
Okay.
But that is, we don't need to ask for money, that's happening.
Okay, no, I was just trying to think of projects that we spoke about before that I didn't remember.
That's
already in the MTA. Yeah, that's on the MTA budget.
And that was the thing.
Yeah, that's getting
Okay.
done.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the $9 they're charging me every day to go outside.
All right.
They get me every day. Anyway.
Last item.
I don't know if there's anybody.
I have something to say.
Yes, Sabrina.
Yeah, so again, I told you guys, I believe in the first meeting that I myself own 3 tractor trailers. So my
Yes.
point of view is always going to come from the opposite side. Trucks do not belong on the street. I understand what you're saying about Webster. It's a long block. Essentially, you may think it makes sense, but it doesn't, because these drivers need to be safe as well. They're carrying hundreds of thousands of dollars, in cargo. They can be robbed if you have them parked on the side of the street. So that is not the solution. Where are they supposed to use the bathroom? Where are they supposed to eat? We need truck stops in every borough. That is the solution. Lit parking areas and truck stops, so they don't need to park on the street. Because we need them. They deliver our goods every day, from ships, planes, warehouses, to our local grocery stores, Targets, whatever may have you. So I think that instead of trying to figure out where else to put them on the street, we had these developers on earlier. We're allowing them to keep building these buildings. But why not create the infrastructure so there's truck parking in every borough, so this won't continue to be a conversation? Because I promise you, as well as with my trucks, we don't want to park on the street. We don't.
Is that something we could put in the budget request?
So to that point, Ariel spoke to it earlier that Councilmember Riley and a bunch of other council members put in legislation. The legislation was adopted. Each borough is supposed to have. I'm sorry?
Where's the space coming?
That is the question, and where's the money coming from to build out
Right.
these spaces? So those are, that can be a request.
I would recommend reaching out to Councilman Riley's office on those issues. I know Cynthia, it's Councilman Riley's office, is a big advocate for truckers.
Yeah.
And she studied these issues and she's put time into those issues. I think, that would be a good place to start. And if anyone wants to look for a site or make a recommendation for a site,
They have a site.
I'd be all about getting involved. I just don't think it has anything to do with whether or not we need a bike lane on the grid.
Yeah, no, understood.
I just think it's an independent thing.
The one thing I wanted to add, just so that, we're talking, I don't want to sound like we're anti-truck. I attend the monthly precinct council meetings. I know some of our, Alfredo Benga, they go to the meetings. if you remember our May meeting, this was a very hot, heavy issue at the church on Matilda. And they actually, because we had the enforcement people there that day, and they brought a trucker. These are, these are not people who are coming from distant areas. These are people who are our constituents who live here, which is why they park here. Again, I'm not trying to be sympathetic one way or the other, but the NCO officers who were there that evening brought them out so that they could speak. I don't know if you guys want to add anything to that.
There's nothing to add. It's just, it's been, I've been on this for 15 years. And that's been an issue ever since then. There's no way to park them. Some of these trucks are huge. We just don't have, at one point, they were letting people park along the 87 between Yonkers and 233rd. And what happened? Other people were coming and dumping stuff between the trucks. And they were thinking that it was the truck drivers and it wasn't them. So Yonkers said, y'all can't park anymore. And that was a perfect parking spot for them. But they said no, because people were dumping. So it's hard to put a 20, 30, 40 footer somewhere. Now, there's places. The MTA bus depot over there by the bowling alley, where they park all the abandoned buses. That's a waste of space. They could fix that up. They don't got to do much. Maybe pave the area with asphalt for lines, and trucks could park there. They got a bunch of empty buses, abandoned buses there. But that's just me saying.
I spoke to Kevin. I spoke to Kevin about that lot that you're speaking of. Are you talking about across from Home Depot, where Aldi's is and all of that?
No.
Where it used to be?
I'm talking about the one across from Taco Bell on Connor Street.
Oh, okay, on Connor Street.
When you get on I-95.
Isn't that private property? Isn't that private property?
What's that?
The one across from Home Depot, yeah, he said that I don't know if it was Department of Transportation, but someone.
No, the one across across from Taco Bell, isn't that private property as well?
MTA, that's MTA. That's where they park the abandoned buses.
By MTA, by Connor Street, just by going towards the I-95.
Yeah. I know where it is. I'm saying that's private property.
I believe Riley said he couldn't get it. I do remember him saying that. He couldn't get it? He could not get that.
He did say that they did not allow it, but it would be perfect because it's right off of the highway. Trucks don't need to really come inside neighborhoods. They need to be able to get on and off highways easily. So
it would be about finding spaces.
There's no space.
Yeah.
There's no space.
What about
in the Northeast Bronx? There's no space.
That's
not going to happen.
Jamal Haley, state senator, was looking into sort of like a weighing station very close to Costco, but that puts it in another county.
That's Westchester.
That's Westchester.
Yeah, that's
where
not
Costco is.
That's not gonna
big space.
That's not going to happen. Anyway, guys, I don't know if there's anybody on the line regarding a liquor license, a new on-premise liquor license for 3479 Boston Road. Is anybody on the line?
I don't think anybody's coming in, Alfredo.
Oh, hey, Ms. Benitez, she lives. How are you? I just wanted to say
a little time getting on, but anyway, as far as I know, there's nothing. We haven't received any documents or anything. And George, I understand you need to talk to me tomorrow about what SLA said to you.
Okay.
George, did you hear me?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You need to talk to me tomorrow about what SLA said to you.
SLA, what SLA said to you?
34 seconds for the liquor license.
Well, I don't know. What did they say to me?
I don't know. Ursula said you. Ursula said you talked to them, so I need to find out what they said to you.
George, I was talking about what was said in that meeting with at Borough Board.
All right, so at Borough Board there was a meeting with the State Liquor Authority, and basically it was stated that they're approving everybody who's up for renewal.
Just like that.
Yeah, they don't, unless of course there is
an issue.
Like there's an issue.
But this
So
is
they weren't. I'm sorry, Judith, if I misunderstood. They weren't speaking specifically about this applicant. They were just talking about anybody who was up for renewal.
Okay, so what about the new permits?
Yeah, I mean I guess their opinion is much like there's the volume of application, stuff like that.
So
it's automatic unless
So
you
what
make
about
it
the ones that we approved last time and we told them when y'all come back for reapproval, this better be done, so they're gonna just bypass us? Nice.
Well, I mean, it's not to say that you don't have, that we don't have a say, but if you're going to say something, you have to say something. Like you
Yeah.
have to say, these are the number of
Oh, we're not
311
gonna-
complaints,
we're not
this is
gonna
the
know.
NYPD
I don't know.
complaints.
I don't know what's coming up for you. I know a bunch of them. I myself told people straight up, when you come back, you better have this done. Otherwise, we're not going to reapprove it. Now the liquor authority just say, you know what, the hell with the community boards. Come to us, and whatever anybody told you, we're going to bypass them. We're going to approve you.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. That's way actually. That's nice.
I mean, you can still,
Yes.
I know, but
I mean, you can still, like with your expertise, you've always pointed out, like if there's open building application violations and
Violation,
stuff
of
like
course.
that. So
Well, that's cool.
again, those things are still standing, but yeah, the state like SLAs, they've moved to automatic approvals or renewal for renewals.
you got
Only for
anything to say
renewal,
back
not
there, young
new.
man? You're the only one that stood here. You got anything to say?
He's about to read it.
I lived in the Bronx for 8 years. I just moved to Yonkers. And then I moved to Manchester, Berkeley, the area you guys are talking about. When I went to the Bronx, I picked different places. So Berkeley.
This is the best. This is the best one out of all of them, right?
Brought it up about the Yonkers, I can recall that issue. And I was wondering, you know, you guys were trying to get rid of the trucks off of Webster, but in Yonkers to get rid of the trucks off of maybe instead of on sides, we can do dirt and complete. And it's because of the dumpsters, I saw that.
But it wasn't the truckers. It's not like the truckers.
Yeah.
Expensive.
It's always been every mile thing is really so, you know, no problems, people stay. I hate when everything's so bad. But now it's getting to the point
Yeah.
where everything-
Unfortunately.
And I know it's about housing, but sooner or later, we're gonna be on the road.
You're right. Thank you. I think you wanted to get that off your chest, but thanks for staying. I appreciate that. Keep coming to
Okay,
meetings.
on that note, I think we can adjourn this meeting.
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second? All right, thank you, Ms. Benitez, Mr. Secretary, thank you. All right, this meeting is now adjourned. You can breathe.
Bye, everyone.